mom that my name was too long to say. So she calls me Brent.
Okay.
After I told her many times, please don't call me Brent. I hate being called Brent. No, Winnie is too long to say.
Yeah,
I don't know you. I hate you. You're the reason why I quit.
On the ceiling, if you want.
Stacy told me.
Nice on the pipes.
My favorite
Means the
woman
answer
on
is
earth.
no.
The woman that
Nope.
makes me.
Doesn't need it.
So, I can't do this.
Hello, Alex. How are you?
Where's your sense of decency?
Wonderful. Wonderful.
She acts like she knows I was gone. Are you hungry?
Here's the pink one.
It matches your background.
Oh,
I
that's
would like a red one.
Alright, well, I need to find a new background.
That exit that he had us do was so stupid. Yeah.
That was so easy.
It was so stupid. Why did he give it?
He gives us exit tickets that are like from.
I have to retake a test today.
Algebra 1.
I have to retake, like,
And then we have like 5 minutes left of class
Yeah.
to do it.
Really?
And I'm just shocked that we got an exit ticket in the first place because we don't do those regularly.
The one that you
I would,
retook?
even if I didn't do it, I would still leave.
Exactly. I don't care.
The one that we took last year, just took.
Oh, the piecewise functions?
No, the one before that.
Yeah, I'm retaking that one too.
Oh,
Today?
Peace-wise.
Yeah.
I'm doing it today too.
Oh my god.
So we're doing it together.
Really stop trying to be me all the time.
I tried
Yeah,
to
my-
do searches.
I forgot my sheets.
Fortnite update 4.1
Make it, Haley.
In case or
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing today? Wonderful, great, awesome, great to hear. Put away your phones, put away your headphones. Take out your activity series sheet and the solubility of ion sheet and start thinking about the question of the day. Can you name a compound that will precipitate when formed in a double replacement reaction, ladies and gentlemen? You'll all get your chance, so relax, ladies and gentlemen. You will all get your chance to name one.
You act like we're itching to share our precipitate.
You're not?
Yeah.
No, not really.
Why not?
I don't know.
Aw.
It's not.
Thank you,
Rocio.
Oh, okay. You expect me to believe that? How was the breakfast?
No one else.
It was pancakes.
Yeah, take time when you take your dad off the rails. What was that?
Why didn't you bring me in?
There you go. Oh,
My mom because you're usually against these things.
Well,
I thought you
yeah.
said no food
So
in the lab.
I literally.
You reject donuts.
no, I have not rejected a donut. Well, it depends on what kind of donut. Okay. All right, go ahead and sit down. I'll let this go this
You
time.
seem like someone who would only eat apple fritters.
Nope, apple fritters are good. Long Johns, unfilled. Got to be unfilled.
Long John's. Yeah.
Simple glazed donut, very good. I just don't like the filled ones. What?
Oh, they're amazing.
They're better than throwing that junk in the center of it.
Especially like
good when it's
custard.
not too much.
Custard is
Yeah.
nasty.
Ugh.
Lemon custard is so good.
Ugh.
If it's like the weird frosting stuff, I can do without the frosting. I hate custard so much. I love the custard.
You're weird for that. You're weird for that.
Well, I'm weird for a lot of things.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say let's not quantify that one.
Custard. I hate it. I'm sorry. It's so disgusting. What did I do to you?
I'm just saying.
Bully for what?
For people liking custard.
I'm just saying, if you like custard, I hate
Hey, if you like custard, that's your opinion. You're entitled to it, no matter how wrong it may be. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, low-key kind of.
Yes, Brenda, what can I do for you? You need a charging
I
block.
think it's the confidence.
I will go grab one. Okay, put away your phone. Otherwise, we'll charge your computer off of your phone.
Did you notice that Levi also just had it out?
No, I was calculating my water intake.
You know what I did notice is that, Brindley, you're a big old tattletale.
Yes, I am.
You're the biggest snitch I've
I
ever
actually used to be a really big snitch.
known. Used to?
What do you mean used to?
But I used to be worse than this.
I find that hard to believe.
Believe it.
Whoa.
Remember when you almost ratted me out too, Mr. Grant?
So what?
You're like, oh, I helped you on that one. And then you just
Looks
looked
at
at
him.
me.
Because now you're like intentionally.
Mr. Brand,
No,
What?
Mr. Grant.
you literally said Mr. Brand.
You did say Mr.
I
Brand.
didn't.
I heard
Why are you listening?
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go. Name me a compound that when you put it in water will precipitate. Will be a precipitate when it's put in water. It will be a precipitate when you put it into water.
Silver acetate.
All right, silver acetate. By the way, that is the only acetate compound that will precipitate. Is silver acetate. Good. Name me another one. Lead chlorate. All right. Chlorate. Nope. Lead chlorate will not.
Wait.
Lead chlorate will not precipitate. Here's chlorate. Nothing
That
is going
isn't
to
chlorate.
precipitate with it.
What is that?
Lead chloride
Right, that's
will.
what
Big difference, right?
Yeah.
2 letters, big difference.
Yeah.
Chloride with lead will precipitate. Chlorate with lead will not. Good. Another one. Okay, I'll start calling on you then. Jim. Something that will precipitate. What's that? Well, you could use something out of the bottom because these things will normally precipitate unless they happen to be with one of these exceptions. Or you could use these in here, but remember, they're normally aqueous unless they happen to be with one of these things. So far we've had silver acetate and lead chloride. Right? We just had that one. Okay, with what? You got to put it with something. Here's sulfur down here. Normally it's going to precipitate unless you happen to put it with something in here. Either ammonium or a cation of group 1 or 2, so don't put it with those. Put it with something else. What are you going to put it with? Nothing from the first 2, correct. Something other than that. So what metal are you going to put it with? What? Okay, silver sulfide would precipitate, ladies and gentlemen. Silver sulfide would precipitate because silver is not in cation, is not a cation of group 1 or 2, and it is not ammonium. Najma. Silver iodine. Silver iodine? Iodate is not on here. Well, you got to be able to name these things. We have been through this. This should not be the hard part of it. Iodide, yes. Silver and iodide would make a precipitate. Brenda. She's like, I knew he was going to call on me. You should have this down. I'll give you a hint. Here's the one that I think Miro gave us, right?
That was.
Oh, Levi?
I was
Then
looking-
Miro gave us this one. Now, Najma just gave us this one. And Jin gave us sulfur with anything that wasn't in here, so he put it with silver so that it would precipitate. Give me something that will precipitate. Okay, again, here's the way this table works, just so we're clear. If you were looking at a compound, we would look at the ending of the compound. And if it happened to be with one of these, then it's going to precipitate. Okay? So if you put one of these things with one of these, it will precipitate. Up here, if you put one of these things with anything, it's going to be aqueous. It's not going to make a solid. Okay? So there are two things that can happen when you put two things together. They precipitate. They make a solid that settles out of solution like they did yesterday here. This is that yellow solid at the bottom that I told you would be there. The top isn't perfectly clear, but it's pretty clear. So you either dissolve and become aqueous, or you precipitate and become a solid. These things with these things always make a solid. Okay? Always. Every single time. These things normally make a solid with just about anything unless they happen to be with some of these things. So just don't put them with these things. If you put these with anything that's not here, it will precipitate. So give me a compound. Pick a metal, put it with some anion, and tell me which one will precipitate. So again, we've had this one. We've had this one. We've had this one. Give me one. I just didn't hear you. I'm sorry. I thought I heard bromide, but I didn't hear what you put in front of it. Well, if you're doing this one, the only three things that will precipitate with it are right over there, so pick one. Lead bromide will precipitate. Jacqueline. Well, you got to reverse those. And then change the ending to IDE. Okay? But unfortunately, that was the one that Najma gave us. So pick something else with iodine that will precipitate. Jacqueline, do you see the iodine here? That's going to be iodine in the compound, correct? Najma gave us silver iodide. What else will precipitate with it besides silver? Very good. Lead. Lead, what? Iodide. Good. Lead iodide will precipitate. Leaf. Mercury bromide will precipitate. Good. Daniela. Calcium what? Calcium chromate will precipitate. Roseal.
This nickel hydroxide one?
What? Nickel what?
Hydroxide.
Nickel hydroxide will precipitate because nickel's not a cation in column 1 or 2. It's not ammonium. So that falls into here. Any other cation with hydroxide? Yes. Perfect. Good, Jared. Strontium chromate will precipitate. Good. Isha. Give me something that will precipitate. Well, have you been watching me?
Yeah.
You have? And you've seen me go strontium chromate?
Yeah.
You saw me go lead iodide, mercury bromide. You saw me go nickel hydroxide. So what's the pattern? If I'm working in here, what's the pattern? Well, which ones are solids? Where did we take them to create a solid? Here's where Jared, yours was strontium chromate. Somebody else said barium chromate. Somebody else said silver iodine. Someone else said lead iodine. Someone else said mercury iodine. Give me something that precipitates.
Is like, wait, the mercury iodide, is that good? I don't know.
Mercury iodine, yeah. Take one from here, put them together, they will precipitate. Good, Jasmine, give me one. Lead chloride will precipitate. Boom, right there. Good, Brindley.
Can you do like barium sulfate?
Can you do barium sulfate? You can, and it will even precipitate. Good, Cynthia.
Silver sulfate.
Silver sulfate will precipitate. Good, Nadia. Silver chromate will precipitate. Good, Aiden. Silver bromide will precipitate. Good. Miro. Miro worked down here once.
Okay. Silver phosphate.
Silver phosphate, definitely. Will lithium phosphate precipitate?
No.
Yes, it will.
That's an exception.
Well, because it's
in
in with the exceptions, and it's an exception to an exception. So lithium phosphate will also precipitate. Lithium carbonate will also precipitate. For these over here, use lead, use silver, use tin, use aluminum. Any of those elements that are not in 1 and 2, any of them over here are going to precipitate with any of those things, ladies and gentlemen. Any of those things. But this is how we read this table. Okay? Now, on your lab, you're going to be asked to do the opposite. What I mean by that is I'm going to say, okay, if you put silver with nitrate, will it precipitate? No. Up here, nothing precipitates. But if silver were to switch places with something and end up with chlorine, will it precipitate? Yes. So when I ask you to name me something that would precipitate, well, we could take anything here and put it with anything here, and they will precipitate. For here, we can put most things with it as long as we don't happen to pick something in columns 1 and 2. Avoid those. And here we could still use column 2. Magnesium carbonate will precipitate. Okay? Calcium phosphate will precipitate. Why calcium's not in group 1? It's not sodium or lithium or potassium or rubidium or cesium. It's not in group 1. Here, 1 and 2 will not precipitate. They will be aqueous. Okay? Questions? All right. Name me something that will be aqueous. Name me something that will be aqueous. We've just named things that are precipitates. Name me something that will be aqueous, please. Lithium carbonate. So carbonate and lithium will be aqueous. Now, here is what that means, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? Lithium is a +1. Carbonate is a -2. So when we write the formula, this is how we will write it. Okay? And if it is aqueous, here is what that means, ladies and gentlemen. If I put this compound into water, this is what happens to it. Name me another compound that is aqueous, ladies and gentlemen.
Titanium nitrate.
Titanium nitrate. Can you give me the charge on titanium? Then let's not use it.
In radium,
What's the charge on radium?
plus 2.
+2. Okay, so if this is aqueous and we put it into water, this is what's going to happen. Give me another aqueous compound.
Lithium carbonate.
We got that one.
Oh. We're thinking on the same level.
Either that or it's familiar to you because we just did it.
Maybe.
Aluminum chloride. Now please remember, aluminum is a +3. Chlorine is a -1. That's how I get this compound. Okay? If we put it into water, this is what happens. Okay? Name me a precipitate. Lead chloride. If we put this into water, ladies and gentlemen, that's what happens to it. So what happens if something is aqueous? What actually happens to it when you put it into water? It breaks apart into what? Those aren't elements anymore.
No.
Those are not elements. Those are what?
Ions.
Breaks up into the ions that make it up. If you put an ionic compound into water and it will dissolve, it is aqueous. It literally breaks apart into the ions that make it up. That is what happens to it. You put salt into water, it breaks up into sodium ions and chlorine ions. You put sugar in water, stays sugar. Doesn't break apart. Why? Sugar is not an ionic compound. Sugar is a covalent compound. A covalent compounds, you do not form ions. You share electrons. Covalent compounds do not break apart in water. Ionic ones do. Except for this one. Why? By definition, it is a precipitate, which means it is not aqueous. Which means if this is put into water, it's going to go sit in the bottom of the container. That's it. That's what it is going to do. Okay? These break apart into ions. This does not. Okay? This does not. Questions? Okay. So what did we tell you we have to find for a double replacement reaction to occur? One of three things. The one is the one we're looking for the most often. What will tell you a double replacement reaction has occurred? There's always two compounds.
Clusters on both sides.
You are correct. You are telling me how to identify a double replacement reaction, and I am not arguing with you. You are absolutely correct. But just because you get two products doesn't mean the reaction is actually going to happen. Single replacement, you had an element and a compound on both sides. But that reaction may or may not have happened. We had to check our sheet. The lone metal needed to be higher up than the one that was in the compound. Otherwise, there would be no reaction. So what do we have to find for a double replacement reaction to actually occur? We have to find a precipitate. We have to find a precipitate. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at something here. We put silver nitrate with aluminum chloride. Oops, sorry. This is aqueous. This is aqueous. What will switch places with what in this double replacement reaction? Silver and aluminum. So I will get aluminum nitrate. This will be aqueous. Why? Anything with nitrate is always aqueous. Anything. What will be the other product here?
Silver chloride.
What state will it be in? It will be a solid. That means this reaction actually occurs, correct? Because there is a solid here, this reaction will occur. Now, what would be the next step in our process? What would we now have to do to this reaction? We would have to balance it. To balance it, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to put a 3 in front here to get the 3 NO3s on each side. That's just where I started. That's where I wanted to go. That's what I did. Then I'm going to have to put a 3 in front here, ladies and gentlemen, to get the 3 chlorines. 1 aluminum, 1 aluminum. Can we all agree this is a balanced chemical equation? Yes? Okay. Well, here's what this reaction actually is, ladies and gentlemen. This reaction actually is this. What have I just done? Well, because we said if something is aqueous in water, it will break apart into the compounds that make it up, correct? Okay. So why do I have a 3 here and a 3 here? Because I have a 3 in front of these, which means I have 3 of these groups, correct? Why do I only have a 3 here and not here? Because with the 3 here, it means there are 3 of these. Questions on that? Okay. So, what happens on the product side, ladies and gentlemen? What does this do? Why? It's aqueous. It should break apart. Correct? What does this do? It precipitates. It stays together, correct? Okay? This is a balanced chemical equation. This is called an overall ionic equation, explaining what this actually is. It is actually these ions in water. These ions in water. Now at the end, this stuff is still what? Ions in water. But this is our product. This means that a reaction actually occurred. Because we got something, this means this reaction actually happened. Okay? There was actually a chemical reaction there. Okay? Now, I don't know if you guys, well, when I was a kid, I hated reading. Absolutely hated reading. So we used to have to do book reports. So all my book reports were on books that came from a movie. Or movies that came from a book.
So you can just watch the movie.
Correct. Thank you. If I got in trouble and the teacher said, well, here's the list of books that you have to do a book report on, and none of them were a movie made out of them, I had one last chance, ladies and gentlemen. I had one last chance. It's called Cliff Notes. Have you ever heard of Cliff Notes? What are they?
Basically, summarization.
A summary of the book. You could go out and get them. I believe nowadays they call them Spark Notes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are
Okay.
the one and only.
So Spark Notes, kind of a quick summary of the book. I could read these Spark Notes, the Cliff Notes, and I could write a book report out of it, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? And if we ever had a discussion about a book, I just made sure I was the second person to talk. The second person to talk, because Levi made a great point. Jimmy in the book truly does not know what he's doing. I completely agree with you. You could tell throughout the story that he just seemed lost. And I would never get called on again. Okay? Point is, the Spark Notes, the Cliff Notes said, get rid of all the extra garbage, just give me the main thing that's going on, correct? Okay, let's do the same thing here. Let's get rid of the garbage. What do I mean by garbage? What I mean by garbage is this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to get rid of this and this. Why?
They're the same thing.
They're the same on both sides of the equation. Well, in math, if you're doing the same thing on both sides of the equation, you get rid of it. You make it easier. So guess what? I could get rid of this as well. Correct? So what it means, ladies and gentlemen, is this whole chemical equation, this whole reaction here actually comes down to this. 3 silver ions that are aqueous combined with 3 chlorine ions that are aqueous to make 3 silver chloride solid precipitates. There's your Cliff Notes, ladies and gentlemen. There's what actually happened. That is the whole thing that went on in this reaction. This stuff never changed. It was ions here. It was ions over there. It did nothing. This stuff didn't change. It was ions over here. It was ions over here. It really didn't do anything. They have no part in the story. Get rid of them. Here's what actually happened. This entire reaction boiled down to what really matters. But the only way this happens is if you get a precipitate. Okay? Questions? So let me show you what I mean.
So basically, we just need to get the S alone.
No, this is the reason that we're finding something that's a solid. Because now we know something happened. Okay? Now we know something happened. Let me show you when nothing happens. Here's what I mean. Let's put silver again with nitrate. And it is aqueous. But let's put the aluminum with chlorate. Okay? Now what we're going to get is we're going to get aluminum nitrate that is aqueous because nothing with nitrates ever precipitates, correct? And we're going to get silver chlorate. What will happen with silver chlorate? What?
It's aqueous. It'll.
It's aqueous.
Yeah.
There is no precipitate here, correct? Okay, so now let's break this down like we did the last one. Well, again, we normally wouldn't do this, but I'm going to balance it by putting a 3 in front here and a 3 in front there. Do we agree it's balanced? Okay, so here's what actually happens. 3 silver ions that are aqueous plus 3 nitrate ions that are also aqueous combined with a silver ion that is aqueous and 3 chlorate ions that are aqueous, right? On the product side, Now, this is aqueous, so what happens? It breaks apart into aluminum plus 3 ions that are aqueous plus 3 nitrate ions that are aqueous, -1 charge. And what happens to this? It also breaks apart. 3 silver ions. Oops, +1, sorry. Oop, wrong button. Well, what do you notice about everything? Well, on the last one, we crossed off anything that was the same on both sides, right? Cross this off. Well, cross this off. It's the same on the other side. Well, so is this. And so is this. So what happened? Nothing. Nothing. Nothing happened. There's no reaction here. This is why there's no reaction. If you don't find a precipitate, if you don't find something that is created, all you got is two things mixed together that haven't changed. That's why there is no reaction. Nothing actually occurred. Nothing actually happened. It's all the same stuff afterwards as it was before. That's why there's no reaction. Questions? You're not going to have to do that yet. Okay? But that is the basis for your final exam. In other words, if I mix two things together, do they react or do they not? If they react, that helps me. Why? Because it will help me to identify what would be in there. What two things reacted? Because again, a lot of times you'll mix two things together and nothing will react. Maybe this one thing, when I mix it with this stuff, it reacts, and when I mix it with this stuff, it reacts. Hey, guess what? That makes it easy to identify. Which one reacted with two things? That's what your lab is going to be about, ladies and gentlemen. And we are going to start working on that tomorrow. We're going to start working on that tomorrow. Questions? Okay. By the way, we said you had to find a precipitate for this reaction to occur. Why? Because it's a solid that settles out in the bottom, and it actually means something was formed. There are actually two other signs of a double replacement reaction occurring.
Gas.
Gas. A gas is formed. Well, that is a solid that settled out to the bottom of a solution. Where would a gas go?
Out of the solution.
Off out of the solution and into the air. But it means something happened. It means something is there that wasn't there before. Now it's gone and it's off in the environment, though. What is the third thing that could tell you a double replacement reaction has occurred? Water is formed. Water is formed. If you make water, if H2O is an actual product, that means that double replacement reaction has also occurred. Now, the one that we are going to look for in our lab is right here. We are going to look for precipitates. Precipitates will tell us that something has happened. Okay? Precipitates will tell us that something has happened. No precipitate, nothing happened. Questions? All right, ladies and gentlemen, you have got a good half an hour here to use. You have got the balancing equations worksheet. You have got the single replacement predicting those reactions, and you have got double replacement predicting the precipitates and the reactions there. questions? By the way, you're like, I'm good. I don't need to do this. I got this down. I'm going to find out on your final. And more importantly, in the second trimester, I'm going to find out when we get to Unit 6, and you have to go back to writing and balancing chemical equations. So whatever you do, ladies and gentlemen, do not throw away your Unit 3 notebook, and do not throw away your Unit 4 notebook. Unit 3 was on writing formulas. Because the last problems on your worksheets, where I give you the word equations, phosphoric acid reacts with calcium metal to produce calcium phosphate and hydrogen gas. That is what you're going to be doing in Unit 7. That is what you are going to be doing in Unit 7. So, again, you guys are lucky. You're going to have one try back to back with the other try. I have one class that has had 12 weeks off of this. And this is right where we left them. And they are going to have to pick up with naming and writing formulas when we start the second trimester. I don't envy them. Go to work, ladies and gentlemen. If you need help with anything, raise your hand. If there is something you want me to show you or go through with you or do with you, I will be more than happy to do that again. Levi. Okay. I didn't know if you had a question or if you needed me to come over there. Okay. Go to work, ladies and gentlemen.
Wait. They can't form a liquid because that's not a precipitate.
The only liquid that you can form is water.
Yeah, so that's not a precipitate.
Correct. It's not a precipitate.
But does it mean there's a
It does mean there is a reaction, okay? Because there's three things that could tell you a double replacement reaction has occurred. A precipitate, a gas, or water. Okay? A precipitate, a gas, or water. So in our lab, you will not be forming water. You will either make a precipitate or you will not. Okay? There will be no water formed. Water is strictly formed when an acid and a base react together. It's called the neutralization reaction. And water is one of the products. It is a double replacement reaction, but water is one of the products. The other one is salt. So therefore, salt would not precipitate. Water cannot precipitate because it literally is the liquid that things dissolve in. It still means there is a reaction. Oh, yes. 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 Come, Cynthia. Yes. You're switching the metals. PB and K. Metals are always first. So you have to know what the charge of PB is, a +2, and put it with I, which is a -1. Either one. Either one. It doesn't matter if it's first or second. That's not PB. They capitalize the P. Nope. 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 Hang on. Hang on. Hang on. Okay. Give me some room here, please. You don't need to go driving.
The home. I might have something I can move on.
What would be the formula?
Maybe you should check the text message.
What would be the formula when we press go?
Like she just now noticed
Hold on,
So that's what you're going to write. The way we get that, though, is we have to know what these charges are to be able to write.
How do we know that PB was 2?
Well, okay.
Oh wait,
Homework
that's
2
2.
is ready.
Correct. Now,
And I
you're
know
going to
she
put
has
K
it too.
+1 with NO3
No, I don't.
minus
And
1.
like she just doesn't
So
like
what's
me
that
as a
compound
person.
going to be?
I'm okay with that. Like,
Great. Now, if
I
you want to
don't
click
care.
on that
I don't
line and
like
get
you
rid of
either.
it, you are welcome to.
she's a grown woman and she has beef with a 15-year-old.
Never real. And I
She's
was
literally
thinking,
like
I
70.
Okay, now
realized
you
that-
now
But,
need
like,
to figure out which
Like,
one of
it's
those
real beef.
precipitates.
Like, she
So take out
genuinely
that chart.
hates me. And I don't know.
This side.
I do my
Alright.
job and I do it
So
well.
KNO3.
I'm very productive.
Nothing with
and I
NO3
don't
ever
mess around.
precipitates.
Like, all I want to
But
do is
with
help.
And
I,
she hates me for that.
DB will
it.
precipitate. So by that, we put an S.
But there you want hope.
Yep.
But there you do your
So it
job.
needs to
Can't do
be
that.
solid.
Yes.
Here.
It also means that there's a reaction because
And
some
like,
solid
even
is
musical,
formed.
she was always trying to steal my job.
And then by the KNO3, we
Like
would
when I
put
was like,
AQ.
oh, the chalkboard is so stressful because I literally messed up one time.
It doesn't
George
stay
did an
liquid, it
actual
stays dissolved.
playthrough.
Oh, when it fell?
Yeah, when I fell.
Okay.
I was like, oh my god, that was so stressful. And she was like, well, I can just take it over. And I was like,
No.
that's not what I'm talking about.
Correct.
Like, it was just like,
Now,
it
if
was
you
just
don't
stressful
get
in the
a
moment 'cause I
solid,
knew it wasn't doing anything.
there's no reaction.
And she was like, oh, I'll just do it.
You just
next
write no
time.
reaction.
And I was like,
Now
no,
you
like,
need to
that's
balance.
not what I'm saying. Like, I
In
don't
other
want
words,
you to take it
There
out.
are two NO3s over here. There's only one over here.
And like,
Okay,
every,
you need to balance it. There
I
are two
never put
eyes here.
the
There is
scarf on
only
the
one
chair
here. Now,
correctly.
because there is a
so whenever I
reaction,
did it, she had to
now
go
you do have to
redo
balance.
it. Even though she
No, you just
literally
need to put
took
the
it
numbers
off the
in front
chair and did
To
exactly
get
what I
it so
did.
that they're the same on
Every
both
single
sides.
time.
So that everything
And then
is
when
the
she
same on
was
both
like,
sides.
really, I have a job
For
for
like this
every
instead of your
before
scoreboard,
every play. I need you to put.
and you can do
biscuits
it
on
up there
the
and on
thing for
here,
the-
or however you want to do it. But you do need
And I
to
was like,
balance that
okay.
equation now because
And
you
then
know
I
that
put the
reaction
wrong
occurs.
biscuits on there,
Okay.
even though there
If
was
the
only
reaction
one
doesn't
package of
occur,
biscuits.
there's no sense in
She
balancing
didn't
it
like
because
the look
technically
of
nothing
those
happens.
Even though
Okay.
you can't even
So there's
see
not
it.
solid.
You can't see
On
it.
the product side,
Then
technically there's no reaction. You don't have to do anything. Okay?
Her interest pie. Love her husband.
Good, sir.
Dean's a real one. Dean's on it. I'm so bad. To have to exist in a house with Stacey Cole and Joey. Feel old.
Precipitate means that something that is created, one of the two products,
Like amazing.
is a solid and it will settle out of solution. That's the definition of a precipitate.
Oh
A solid
my
that settles
God.
out of solution.
I was literally,
For us, what
I
it
was
means
sitting
is
there,
if
I
you
was like,
find a
please,
precipitate and they go to a
listen.
replacement reaction, it means that reaction actually
Like-
Look at the list.
There was something that
Right side of the table.
okay, like coming
If
from
there is
someone that
not
doesn't
a
understand when
precipitate,
people start asking
there is
questions,
no
but I paid
reaction.
attention and I realized that it's just like you do
Yeah.
that, and I was like, oh okay. Please, please.
Double replacement or double displacement?
And then when he
Yes,
was
either
going-
one. For double
You pay
displacement.
attention.
So this
When I
side is
literally
for
just
double
went,
replacement
And then
reaction.
yeah.
The other side of this is
Boy, I know you're lying to me right now because it is not.
single
I can
replacement.
tell he's
Stop.
frustrated too.
I know he was like,
He's like, okay.
and then
What
he was
doesn't
literally
make
just like
sense?
putting words in people's mouths.
It's like,
Oh, what you're saying?
this side.
I gotcha.
basically got it. He's like, this.
Oh,
Goes with this.
And like, it was so hard to
You've only
watch
done one
because,
side of
like,
the equation.
People like understood it.
You're right, right now you could not balance it.
And so he was just like,
Oh,
Okay.
yeah,
I mean, like, I know it goes from one side to the other, but I
Correct,
don't
you
know
did.
what goes together.
Okay. You'll find that it'll balance.
there was a couple people I was about to just.
Right. How we doing?
I was about to just like
Good
scream at
question.
the something. Gonna be teacher. I'd start yelling at students.
Did you hear that?
Okay,
No, that's
so
never mind.
first of all, this is a single replacement. Okay, single replacement reaction. This
Okay.
metal, AL,
Yeah.
is
Okay.
going to replace the metal in this compound, the metal in this compound.
Okay.
We're good. You heard it too. We're fine.
Yeah, which one? And
I'm
I.
hungry. I should have listened to my mom 14 times. She said I should eat.
Weird.
Oh, it's almost like your mom knows.
That's crazy.
Wow. It sounds like mom.
Okay.
My favorite
Here's
is when
the
Mr.
other
Bright
thing.
goes like
Metals
this.
are always
Any
written
questions?
first.
Put the
So in this
speaker.
compound, and I.
No, it made me laugh
So now
super hard in the
aluminum
middle of
is
his
going to
lesson.
go take the place.
Because after we were done with this thing, he went, any questions? And it was really hard to
Okay,
laugh,
now,
but-
What's the charge of aluminum? What's the charge of sulfur? So now,
I have two
write a
tests.
balanced
Wow.
equation, a balanced equation for
I
that.
hope Mr. Nasty understands me.
Yep, yep,
And what?
so that's how we would have to
You just
write
quietly.
it. AL2, S3.
Saturday. Saturday.
Somebody is at the door.
Yes.
Why did you say that?
Somebody's at the door.
Somebody is at the door. Hello, somebody at the door.
I meant to click
You said
Okay.
it's so like robotic.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Scheduled in that class. What do you mean?
Yes!
Okay,
Yes!
now,
Yes!
you still need one more product here, which would be whatever got kicked out.
I love my life.
What?
Yep, you have to put a plus. And then what got kicked out. There you go. Now you'll be able to balance it because you have a
This
little
was
here and
like
here.
during summer.
Oh, summer jam. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, what
I
am
know,
I
I'm
looking
doing
at?
summer
Now
summer
you
personal
balance
fitness.
if the reaction here.
No, seriously.
So
So
now,
No, it's
right
okay.
here,
No, but I was. Yes, it is.
yes, it
here's aluminum,
why is it not?
here's nickel. Since aluminum is
I'm
highly
virtual.
volatile,
I'm in person.
this
Oh.
reaction will happen.
You know, I was like, wait, what am I looking at? I don't know.
Oh.
If
And
the
then it
one
just said,
here,
oh, this was the personal fitness. And I'm like, I'm already in person.
Oh, yeah.
And then scheduling me again for personal fitness. Like,
Oh, yeah.
what's going on?
Let's do this now.
Alright.
Virtual
that's
class.
my question. You could take out
I'm
those
so
long
upset.
lines.
It's
if you
gonna bring-
want them
it's
to.
literally
I
gonna
just
bring me
put them
back
in there,
to
put spacing in
COVID.
there for you.
Oh,
When I set my computer up and for gym, I just felt like this.
Other than
Bottom
that, box
to
full
make it
of
look like I was doing it. And then I distinctly remember this
I
one time
understand
I
it. The
found
ones that are in the office
entire
store.
thing of strawberry milk.
So let's use those.
And I was doing the head bobbing thing, and then he said that push-ups. So I just laid on the ground, and then I was just like thinking about life, and I realized that we were like still going, and then I just kind of like got up and like continued on. So like from his when I was doing it, I fell on the floor and just stayed there for a really long time. Actually, that gym
Go
teacher
back
got
to
fired
the-
for looking at kids.
Oh.
She didn't get fired.
Is this?
Oh.
No, that alligator.
But like, Older just doesn't.
No.
Older just doesn't want anyone to know that their gym teacher is a pervert. I knew he was a pervert
Oh, I
too.
got the reaction reversed.
I have a pervert vibe. Okay. I
Which one
just
is
feels
this, the
like
key?
that.
You have a radar.
Yeah, the reaction
Yeah,
is
and-
reversed.
Literally,
I'll
it
go
was
fix
really
it.
weird because the
Okay,
allegations
will that
were
make
that
you happy?
during yoga,
Yes.
Good.
he would go behind all of the kids.
Are we doing
and
any
take
questions?
pictures of them while they were doing yoga. And
No, it
whenever I
wasn't
was,
taking pictures. It was just looking.
it doesn't matter
Either
who's
way.
taking pictures or looking.
By the way,
They're children. And I remember being in that class, and when it was yoga time, I always thought it was super weird when he would come to the back of the classroom and watch all of us. And when we were doing like squats and stuff, he would circle around to all of the girls, and like he would go to the girls' locker room all the time.
And no
You
one
would
said
go into the
anything.
boys' locker room every day.
well, yeah, that's like.
But like
It's still
it's
kind of
the boys'
creepy if
locker
he's
room.
staring at people, but like,
yeah,
you
but
know.
like he would just like hop into the girls' locker room.
And no one did anything.
No,
That's crazy.
that's all though. They won't do anything ever. They refuse to admit that their teachers are horrible.
Ooh.
This is not the first.
Not the first time?
Oh, it didn't
No.
look. The last time was.
But I don't know.
I don't know.
He's back though. So
Again? Right now, like teaching us? Oh, yeah. Still?
No,
and
no,
also
Eminem
there was
please.
What?
Anyway,
April's not really playing.
they don't know. They don't tell anything. And also, what I also thought was really weird is, you know, the typical.
Yeah.
You were just and it was right after the little kids, because we were at K grade school. It was right after like the little kids would be there that he would have. Yeah.
Ain't no way. It's gotta be like.
He also did.
Okay, what can I do for you?
So it says lithium
I feel
and
like
zinc,
right?
right?
Because like
Okay.
Here it says zinc and
Like,
lithium.
his legs would be going, and he's like,
Oh my god.
"Yeah, you guys just do everyone." Do everyone.
Well, no wonder I got it wrong.
Well, who said you got it wrong? They might have got it
Like,
right. I
his
just might have the
entire
wrong
was,
thing
like,
there.
He's like going like this.
Yeah,
the entire
because-
Okay, but here's the other thing. You can't put charges in
Hey,
there.
bro.
Why?
You gotta get rid of them when you write their formulas.
Office that like his door would always be closed.
because we don't write charges in formulas.
No,
When we
but like
we
other-
need the charges to write the formula, okay? So if you're doing chromium, which is a +5, and oxygen, which is a -2, we need these so that we can write Cr2O5. But when we get to this, we take those out. Okay? So when we get to that, we take those out.
But I was right.
I never said you weren't.
Okay. So are you changing it?
I'm working on it.
Thank you.
Oh, for sure.
So wait, you did it randomly.
No, he
No, I took
popped it
the
off.
space bar off.
No,
And
he did it
I
on
didn't
purpose.
realize that it was that hard to get back on.
Damn. And then now you're just looking at her like, fix it.
Yeah, and she's like, I can't fix it. She's like, I got it.
Can
We
you
have
get
to
it?
check guys. She was like, here.
And then it's gonna turn out he just pops
Oh
it
no,
back
this
into what
one
it
is
is.
faster than that.
Yeah, no.
It's so slow.
This new computer.
This new computer.
This new computer actually doesn't die very quickly.
Mine doesn't. Mine never. Mine loads. My old one loaded, and like I would go home, and it would be connected to my Wi-Fi at home, and it would load a tab in like 40 seconds.
Yeah.
Even at school, it would load a tab in like 25 seconds.
I haven't tried this since I got it.
I haven't either.
And
When did
it's-
you get it?
I got it like last week,
I got mine last night.
like Thursday.
Wait, so
Well, it'll do that, and then the first time it gets low, it's just gonna.
Yeah, and then it's just gonna
Because
keep
that's
doing
what this
that.
one was like.
Yeah,
It was
But,
like
yeah,
the
no.
first time, like I didn't have to charge it.
it's still at 32 on Chrome.
Mine's at 94.
And then as soon as it like
Landed.
died, it was done. It never.
I have 3 computers. Okay, my first computer, I don't know why, it just wouldn't work in like a certain class. It wouldn't work in this class. And every time I'm trying to load it, it works. Every time I'm trying to load it up, I'm just like, it's not working, you know? And she sent it to me to the office, right? And I'm like, what do I do in the office if I go to the library? And then someone wasn't there, so I just had to wait. So I waited a couple of days, and then she fixed it, right? I go back, it doesn't work. And it doesn't work in the hallway. Like, I'm walking back to the library, and it starts working, and I'm like, oh wait, let me go back. And then it stops working.
No, that has happened to me before.
And then so she gave me a new computer. And then the other computer, like the charges, only one spot would work. It was on this side wouldn't work. So it charged really slow, right? And so like one day it's just stopped charging.
No, she's just saying on that side to charge
Yeah,
slow.
yeah, because like it doesn't charge at all on this side, but this side it's really slow. Like it takes an hour and a half for it to reach like I don't know 20%. Like it would take forever to
I
charge.
feel like you're making up numbers right now.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like.
Did you measure this?
No,
It was actually like 10 minutes. It's just
No,
felt like an hour and a half.
listen, I was really lazy and I kept looking at it. I'm like, why is this not charging?
You're not helping your case here.
Yeah.
You're not helping your case.
What do you want me to say? I just
Can I what? Do
long.
I have a Sharpie?
Either way, the numbers on what's it called? So we can enter this one, and this one is the normal one.
This
I've
will be my
had
second.
many computers.
There you go.
The beginning of this trial bad because the one that I've had that I got last year, it like literally was dying constantly, and like it didn't matter how much I charged it. So I had to get another one. But then they didn't have a computer like this computer, and they had one of the old ones that the touchscreen didn't work.
Oh yeah.
So then I had that for a couple of days.
I
And
remember.
then I got a new one, but that one the touchpad didn't work. So then I went to her and I was like, hey, the touchpad and also the Google, like I wouldn't open tabs. So I'm like, this sucks too. And so she was like, okay, I'll give you another one in a few days. So then I waited for 4 days.
There's
And
two
then
eyes over here.
she got me another one and the touchscreen didn't work.
at the beginning.
And I didn't realize how much I
Here
used
there
the
are two
touchscreen until I
two
didn't have a
ends.
touchscreen. And
And six.
I had to go to her again and I was like,
Here there are
touchscreen
two
doesn't
ends
work.
and
And she
six
was like, okay, we'll
oxygens.
get you another one.
Two
And
Ks.
that was because that was my last one.
Two Ks
That was my
over
last
here.
one.
This is my first
Two eyes.
I've ever had.
Yeah.
I got mine in
Two eyes over here.
I had it
Name's
all the way
balance.
until I took the space off at the space off.
Well, don't take the
You did
space
that
key
to
off.
yourself. What would
Yeah.
I know, but like,
No, I don't even know how
Put
the
the
crack out of my
two in
screen,
front of the
honestly.
KI.
oh, because this omen, the cracks is randomly.
No, I think that's what I told her too. Because like when I wanted to put it there, it was just I forgot. Oh, it wasn't charging. And I went up there and I was like, Well, my computer's not charging. And also, just so you know,
Calmly.
there's a crack that goes like all the way down the screen, and she was like, I don't see it. And then like she turned it a certain way, she was like, oh.
Yeah.
Um,
We can take that.
we'll just
Woman, my
get you a new one.
hopped out of my pants and tumbled down the stairs.
No, I opened it one day, and then there was just a huge crack, and I was like,
I don't know why there's a light mark.
A bike.
I don't know why there's a
Remember when
business
Evan did
hole in
that?
my screen.
Remember when Evan? Oh yeah, it was Evan's computer though.
Yes. Some kid although it bit another kid's computer.
And there was an entire bite mark on the screen. And the kid just never told anyone because he was scared he was gonna get in trouble. Yeah, he was already in trouble because this is like the second computer he's been through because the screen is cracked. So this one was broken because another kid bit it, and no one would believe that. So he just didn't tell
I feel
anyone.
like kids are, I mean, like, I feel like adults wouldn't believe that.
No, they wouldn't.
And yeah, if we said that Gio did it, they'd be like, oh, yeah. Gio literally, I mean, I cannot count the amount of times that Gio did this. Just because, okay, yeah. So life was like weird, but like parents left or whatever, so like in foster care.
Okay.
And like I understand that sucks, but that does not give you the right to believe. One time he asked me if I was pregnant. Yeah.
That's a little.
Yeah. And I said, Joe, why are you making fun of my weight? And he said, no, I really want to know if you're pregnant. And I was like, you shut up. I know that you're just calling me fat right now.
And why do you care?
And he was like, sorry, I didn't mean it like that. And I was like, okay, buddy. And then I took off my glasses once, and I was not talking to him. And I said to Levi or someone, I was like, should I get contacts? And he like walked by, and he was like, it was, oh, maybe it's solution. And I was like, and then he was like, oh, you should never get contacts. Your eye bags are disgusting. Get sleep. And I was like, what?
Oh my god, dude.
Actually, that happened 2 weeks ago. By multiple different people in the same day.
People you know. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
My friend Addison, I literally took my glasses off, and she went like this. Ugh! And I went, okay.
Keep the glasses on.
Okay. Never mind.
And somebody did that to me.
That was so wrong.
Yeah. I was just like, no,
That was
not
so
the end
wrong.
of their life.
I was
Yes, I
not.
killed them and I killed myself.
We're like, no.
Stop.
Like what?
That was just, it was so wrong. And then it happened at lunch where I took my glasses off. It's like, I don't know, my eye was tweaking, and like I barely touched it. It was like, got shot. And then I took my glasses off because I was like, oh wow, that hurts. And my friend Isaiah was like, you should never get contacts. Your eye bags are really bad like that.
It's because you get 6 hours of sleep.
I get it. I don't sleep.
But I feel like even when you're good sleep, it's like genetic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I like? I don't even know.
Those stuff you can't grow up
I've never had eye bags, and I used to have good sleep, but then
Well, how would I know if I like him or?
Dude, I like his face.
Do I like his face?
You usually used to know
No, I
these
haven't.
ones.
You have like such
Well,
I
don't
don't you.
What-
No,
what-
you
what
have,
is it
like-
only-
You have like tiny eyes.
No, like
I
Yeah, no, you have big eyes and you have small eyes.
That's what I'm saying.
One time, and
Seems like a
one time in 8th grade, this kid,
But also like I can't see
I don't know.
Yeah.
because I'm like
I feel like you two have the same.
my eyes are kind of like swollen.
They're
Have I
really
seen
one
it?
time in 8th grade, a kid told me that
Also,
I
some
looked like
people
I
have
was
my
on
eyes
my
are
I'll
stomach.
be with you a minute.
Yeah, my eyes are like swollen. So I can't really.
I just do it.
I don't think there's any other.
Yeah, no, that's
I
what's
never saw
happening right
that
now.
free
One
guy.
time,
Well, not like this. Okay.
Yeah, I had to like.
one time in 8th grade, a kid told me I looked like I was from Bunsland because my eyes were so big.
I can't remember what else he is.
They're so out of
Not
line.
really
Didn't see
perfect.
those
So
things
much.
I know. Things like that.
It's mean because it's real. It's mean because it's true. And he said it with like no remorse either. And like he said it like he was genuine too.
How often
He
I
was
think
like,
about
like
what?
you're from Bunsland.
Not for the longest time. It
Oh, it was
that
Jackson, so.
My question is, why didn't they find what they were looking for? If they were just roaming,
Yeah,
how could they not find what they were
Well,
looking
either way, he's wrong.
Listen, I know that my eyes
for?
are.
Why not just stay in one place? Even if you're where you are, you've got an empire. Enjoy it.
No, but I haven't.
So. No, they gotta go wandering and looking for more.
Welcome to the club, buddy.
You know
My
what?
eyes got better, and then it also just changed.
My eyesight.
Straight over the side.
Oh,
I'm really 16.
Hang on, I got a
It's
mark.
so
I will just
disgusting.
mark
I
it.
am watching
There's like
videos.
so many side effects.
Literally, first of all that, but like even just like the
What?
operation,
Is it? Okay.
I could not do it. I could not.
Okay,